teachers, welcome to EDU10006 Assessment 1. My name is Carrie. Today, I'm going to talk about 21st century education. As Nelson Mandela said that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. As we all know that education is essential for people's life, it can bring us to everywhere we want. As a citizen of the world in 21st century, we need to have new ways of learning in order to better strive in the rapidly changing world. Today, we are going to look at learning and teaching in 21st century. 21st century learning is not a fixed prescription or non-formula. 21st century learning contains innovation and technology. Teaching in 21st century is about learner-centered, multiple forms, and creativity. 21st century learning is preparing young learners to face and solve wicked problems, examples like climate change, energy, and environment. As a teacher, instead of passing knowledge down to the student, we need to more focus on skills that learners will need for future life, which we should looking for learners' needs and be creative to using different approach to practice learners' problem-solving skill, critical thinking, decision-making, and communication skills. Some people might question me why we need to change and what makes our educational change. As the ongoing social, economic, and technology change, international realizes that our education system needs to shape the current world, which means our education should shift into a new paradigm. Globalization and social change are the key drivers of educational change. Today, we are going to looking at globalization in detail. Globalization simply refers to connect global activities significantly economic but also social, political, environmental, cultural, and technology. Under globalization, technology is a fuel which accelerates the social change. As the technology rapidly progressed, our life becomes easier. However, many traditional entry-level jobs have disappeared as the business use technology to replace labor. This forces employees to become high-skilled labor in order to be competitive in the labor market. In this situation, education can help people to become skilled laborers, which implies that our education should change its focus from knowledge to skill. As the teacher, we need to personalize learning to address individual learners' needs. Personalizing learning is the new practice in 21st century education. Personalized learning refers to a supportive community where the teachers address learners' individual and collective needs. In other words, personalizing learning is a specific way that education system designed for individual learners to build their own interests, knowledge, and skills. Within personalized learning, learners can decide the learning content, time, approach, and location according to their interests and needs. In the classroom, teachers need to consider the individual difference to planning their class. Here is the example of personalizing learning. In the early childhood setting, the national quality standards emphasize that educators should build their curriculum based on each child's current knowledge, strengths, ideas, cultural ability, and interests. Which teacher needs to focus on individual difference and customize learning for each learner. This will ensure learners have motivation of learning, but it requires teachers to be more creative and innovative to meet individual needs. In order to achieve that, educators are using planning cycle to check children's learning. This includes observe learners' interests and knowledge, question for learners' needs, plan for next step, implement plan, and reflect their learning with early years learning framework. In traditional teaching and learning, learners are in one-size-fits-all model, which teacher-centered. In 20th century, the learning could only occur under school setting. Classroom in the 20th century setting is assembly line. In that situation, learners are expecting to learn in the same way. Teachers are using standardized tests to measure learners' performance goals, which learners are only judged by the score they got from the test. If learners get low score in their test, they are labeled as dumb kids. This result, learners lose their interest, motivation, and confidence for learning. Compared to the personalizing learning in 21st century, learning can happen beyond school walls. In the classroom, teachers will use different approach to address learners' needs and even design different assessment tasks to examine learners' academic achievements. This would no longer generate failure as it customized the way for students to achieve their own learning goals and aspirations, which helps learners to strive and to become more competitive in a globalizing world.